Okay, so we got the mics up. Let me play around with some of the stuff over here so that way we can get us going. Okay, so I'll hop on into the game, and while I'm working on some of the stuff, it looks like Drew's playing light and MHT's playing dark. So,
Yep.
Hunt Down versus I don't know. What do you think? What is Drew playing for light side?
QMC. I think
QMC.
Huntdown was not. Drew said it's possible he was going to play Huntdown, but he was not betting on it. But Drew has a plan for this matchup, so I'm interested to see how it pays off. But yeah, Drew is playing a QMC deck that he debated playing in the last round, and
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, remember I mentioned he was thinking a lot about a deck and then pivoted to main. This was
Okay.
the deck he was thinking of playing, but it's not quite the same build, but pretty close.
Yeah, I will say like this is a matchup I think can go either way. Lately, it's been more towards the QMC player, but no, I'm excited to see this matchup.
Drew specifically sent me his thoughts on different matchups before this, and he said everything besides Hunt Down and Bring Before Me he feels pretty good about. Those two are tough. Come at your pile of alien scrubs with lightsabers, and that can be challenging. But he has a lot to mitigate damage, move around, etc. And he said by the turn 3 or so, he's hoping to have a big stack out, and then after that, it's about spreading and piecing together support for that. So we'll see. Going into the game, that's Drew's game plan.
And if you're MHT, what do you think your game plan is?
I mean, I think typically you want to just start clogging up Cloud City in this matchup.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the dream is he has like Vader and goes potentially down here, flips. He's not losing. He's putting the pressure to Vintage. He's putting pressure on Drew. Um, that just is going to put him a little behind the eight ball. But instead, so he has an Emperor to come down. The reason he's kind of incentivized to get these Dark Jedi out before Hark Seth comes out because Hark Seth will download sites
Mm-hmm.
once when Dark Jedi is deployed, so it can just help him get things out of his deck, especially because QMC is going to try to flip as quickly as possible.
Now, I think it really comes down to like if Matt is playing any space. Like space is really important in this matchup, at least from what I've seen.
Yeah, totally agree with you. This if he's not playing space, I like Drew's chances even better. Um, Drew definitely is expecting him to have probably well. So here's a big tip that he might not have space: is Emperor's now on veteran.
Mm-hmm.
So like
Yeah.
Emperor shuttle, much less potent. If anything, he might just have like one or two Maul's infiltrators. But if I'm Drew, I'm like, okay, I'm a lot safer in space knowing that Palpatine is out.
Yeah, even the Sith infiltrator is like not a really big deal. Like you're okay with them losing the two force to cloak every turn.
Right, totally. I don't think Drew will be upset with that at all. And Drew also said, I mean, he's like, there's so many important pieces. It's annoying against Hunt Down because I have to lose from hand if possible at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's going to have, like, later in the game, he's probably going to have, like, a four card hand for a lot of the game.
But again, once he does flip, that's really good for him because he'll be able to start getting any card he wants out of his force pile.
Correct. And he has a bunch of dudes that deploy for free. So hopefully we'll see a turn. Depending on his hand, I mean, if he has a really good hand, I guess he could flip now, but it'll likely, be turn two. Here's Harkin Overseer. That helps beef his activation a good bit.
Mm-hmm.
And again, can get sights out of his deck.
Yep, and
Oh,
there's
it's actually the Overseer that does that non-part. All right, so yeah, he had this. I wouldn't be shocked to see him go for the flip here.
now. I mean, I don't know. Like my biggest issue with the flip here is you're still kind of vulnerable if MHC has a spy. Okay, maybe
No,
not so much because Din Djarin's pretty good.
generally you're right though. I mean, and is using all of his force to do so.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Drew's probably feeling like he's got a 9-card hand. He'd have to have a spy. He's only activating 12. Like, worst case scenario, I guess it's like spy, ice art or something, plus a maul with saber. Maybe he's just thinking it's unlikely for him to have those cards. He might also land the Overseer and move Hark just for more protection, but I'd be very surprised if he did that. Drew obviously anticipating he'll be able to satisfy for most of the game, while unlikely that Matt will.
So what do you? No, I'm still here. So how do you like Drew's chances right now with this board state, and especially like what do you think? What do you think he's playing for Darkside?
So for Dark, I don't know. I do know that he has a range of about 5 decks, depending on how this game goes, and I think it'll also depend if they're playing right after this, because TBD if they're going to play back to back or if they will move the second game to later this weekend. I think if it's right after this, that'll narrow Drew's range probably to something he's just very comfortable with. He might tweak a few cards. If it's later, then he's going to have more time to really think about it and decide what he wants to play. So, TBD. But yeah, I think Drew knows he has like a limited range on Darkside depending how this game goes. From a board state perspective, ask me after this turn. I mean, Drew's down to 3 cards in his hand. The next turn, obviously, he'll get to Tunnel Vision for anything. And then we'll see. I think it's going to be, so not surprising. Matt's going to get Vader out of his deck. See him teleport over. So there's just going to be Jedi clogging up the board for Matt. Like, this is how Drew probably expects this to go, so hopefully he's ready in some form or fashion. Noticeably, the last site that he will play is the Force Train canceling site. He probably won't play that till he's ready to move to it with a pretty formidable stack.
Yeah, and that makes sense because like if you're Drew, you really don't care if Matt is draining for 1 right now at the guest quarters. You want to control that. You have to control the drain canceling site. You really do.
Exactly. I hope Chris didn't take offense at our lack of positive feedback on.
I hope he did. I hope he did. I'm not upset. Like I'm perfectly understand his point of making the Emperor Insidious like the same and everything. That's fine in my book. Just the hype train that literally Chris and Jared were all like, "This is the biggest announcement in Star Wars CCG or spoiler in Star Wars history." Come on, like.
I had Brian Fred texting me earlier. What are you guys announcing tonight? Can you tell me? I was like, I have no idea.
I had no idea, and I'm like, dude, you're doing a spoiler. Like, are you doing a spoiler, like a good spoiler from the next set and everything? Are you going to do something halfway decent? No. Like I said, you know what? I'm omitting Chris Kelly from Guest of the Year just because of that.
That's punitive, and I love it. I'm here for it, Dan.
Well, plus he was last year, so can't win 2 years in a row.
Yeah, he's got enough superlatives.
Yeah.
So Drew's got 3 cards in his hand. I imagine he's going to lose off the top and just hope he loses a path.
I don't know. I don't like losing the path there.
He's playing 3 or 4 of them, so it's not the worst thing to have lost, but I'm sure at least it's not a site or some like a celebration or something that's super critical. Yes, there are certainly cards that would be less valuable to have lost.
But again, you said it like he's got a 3-card hand.
Which is what he expects. I'm interested to see what happens for Drew on this turn. So he's going to search his force pile. Don't anticipate that he's going to drain. Question will be, is this the turn now that he feels like if he has access to it, can he go to the force canceling site, or does he hold off on that? And that's, I mean, with a 4-card hand, that's gonna be very hand dependent.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of worried about the Ellis and like the Ellis beatdown. If MHT is playing an Ellis, you don't want to see that at all. So, I mean, if you could put the North Quarter down to put the O1 site in between the North Quarter, I think that's what the Upper City. Yeah, the Upper Plaza corridor. If you could put that one in front between Vader, I think you're fine. But again, you also risk like Maul coming down, P-59. You risk so much.
Totally agree. This is, again, not the matchup Drew was hoping for. But that's the thing with Matt is, like, he basically said, Matt could play anything. So I'm just going to play the light side that I think is good against the most dark sides. And so be it, and we'll see how that goes. So Drew playing Men of Spades makes me think he's going to try to satisfy Men of Spades this turn.
Yeah. I'm assuming that's the card he went out and got with his force pile push.
Matt hasn't to your point about Ellis, Matt hasn't drawn that many cards this game either. To be fair, I think he knows like he needs to keep a reasonable force pile if he wants to play a dude a turn or something and actually get a force train in and draw a couple cards, so it's not too shocking. But Drew also probably has to weigh the risk of, does he think that is he playing Ellis? And if he is playing Ellis, does he already have it in his hand? And if he does have it, how bad is it for Vader to come for it? So yeah, Drew goes ahead and moves out in the open. Kind of stinks for him that this is the docking bay. It gives Blizzard 4 a place to go.
Yeah.
If Matt has that in his hand.
And I think Matt has a 5-card force pile too, so he's got enough force to get down 1, maybe 2 characters.
It's possible Drew just has its trap in his hand also and is like fine baiting. He might have a barrier. Obviously that doesn't work. If it's Blizzard 4, he may just say, I'm willing to take my chances.
Yeah.
The nice thing is Drew drew up to a 10-card hand, so I would bet he found something in there that he's willing to lose from hand to not lose off the deck. There goes Kira.
Kira, she's an interesting one. Haven't seen a lot of her in this deck.
So she has a species.
Oh, is he playing a Ancient Watering Hole version?
Correct.
Ooh.
So this is a deck, I believe, that Charlie basically had been messing with this deck for a while, and then the modal nodes came out, and it was like, this might be something that pushes this deck into a better spot. We did test with this a good bit before Worlds, and ultimately, for one reason or another, everybody kind of moved into the commuting space or other light side. This was right there as a potential deck. And then Drew kind of asked everybody to keep it under wraps for a while because he knew he was going to want to play it at some point in the OCS.
Okay, that's fair. And I will say this, like, it's funny because Batmouse had really good success with QMC at Worlds. Like, I want to say he had like 1 loss during the weekend or something like that. I know he won the consolation with it, so. I mean,
can beat map if it can avoid them coming to you like turn 2 with. If you have a barrier for Kylo's shuttle, if they can go shuttle Kylo Pride, you can be in really tough shape.
Yeah.
We found that the games where that happened and you had barrier, that didn't get canceled, you won, or if that just didn't happen, QMC won. Okay. So it was very much in consideration. And then against it beats ISB handedly usually if they don't have a bright center, which most people are not playing.
Yeah.
its toughest matchups are dark side mains. Is what we found.
That's fair. Okay, it looks like Min. He's put down. MHT went ahead and put Min down. Now Min's gonna stop Metis Fades at Vader's site, so he'll be able to get a drain of 2 there. Matt didn't drain this his turn. Okay, he plays his impressive enforcement shield with Min, so he's still got 2 pools. I think if you're Drew, I mean, you're happy that that's all Matt did there.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if he has other deploy phase action, but he didn't. He goes into draw.
Yeah.
So if I'm Drew, I'm definitely not displeased with that for the turn.
Yeah.
We'll see how this goes. Matt draws up to 12. He's got 11 cards in his force pile. I feel like he's sitting there debating what are the odds that he has Grimtosh versus it's possible my hand is full of stuff that I don't need and I need to keep drawing.
Yeah, and the thing is, I like this because Drew saved 4 force. Or he saved 5.
Really,
yeah.
it really makes me think Drew has It's a Trap in hand.
Okay.
Because he saved 4 with the if he has first strike, even worst case scenario, I can It's a Trap here.
Yeah, there goes a dodge from Drew's deck. Yeah, both players are both of them are activating 13 right now. So, but again, with Matt having an 11 card force pile, that's pretty significant.
Yeah, I expect he'll at least be draining next turn. We'll see, depending on what Drew does, how this turn goes, but he'll have the force to spend. So Drew's going to do drains of 1 and 1. It'll be interesting to see like how Drew plays this, and it's obviously depending on what is in his hand. Mm-hmm. He's just not super well equipped to fight through weapons. I will tell you, like he needs to find Rescue in the Clouds to cancel against some of the majority of his characters. I think it works with.
Okay, so and Matt lost a Surface Defense V from his hand, and then he lost Sith Fury off the top of his reserve deck.
That tells me Matt likes his hand if he's using off the top of his deck with a 12-card hand.
Okay, there's the drain cancel site.
I would not be shocked to see him go there, and then hopefully a celebration comes out this turn as well for Drew.
Okay, there's Solo going down to the North Corridor now, and Tarful coming down. So and again, so Drew can cancel the drain.
Yeah, so Min just stops reduction.
Yeah.
So he can still use the site text to pay a force to cancel.
Okay, Yoxkit and Ray stacked onto I Don't Like Sand, and there's Ancient Watering Hole. Drew currently has 5 aliens on table with species. So that's pretty good for him. I think only Lobot doesn't have a species there.
Yeah, that's actually what I was just cycling through. Lobot is the only character on table without a species for Drew.
Yeah.
So currently, Drew's Force Trains are +1. His total Battle Destiny is +1. Az is not out or in play, or else they would be +2 if they're in the battle. And then all of his aliens currently also forfeit +1 from the water.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Let's see if he saves 4 force again. Okay. He didn't even draw anything, just sticking with his 6-card.
He drew 2.
Okay. Sorry, excuse me. He drew 2. I fully expect that he has It's a Trap in hand.
Okay, there goes a Don't Tread on me from the reserve deck. Drew needs to stop. Is he playing out of commission combos?
I don't believe so.
He needs to find something to stop that visage damage.
It'll probably be pinging him for a lot of the game, if I had to guess. He doesn't have many spies, or really he needs to get Celebration on table at least to mitigate half of it. Yeah, he doesn't have great answers for Visage, I don't think. I'm going to double check his list, but I'm fairly certain that there is no canceller.
Okay. Okay, and again, we're in Matt's activate phase. He's looking at his destinies with Emperor. He's looking for Force Lightning. Force Lightning, again, can only be used with the Emperor. Lord Sidious and Darth Sidious cannot use it, so... Okay, no Force
Well,
Lightning.
they're different people, Dan.
Yeah, they are.
It doesn't look like he has any out of commission combos.
Okay.
In fact, I expect he'll be eating that damage the whole game, unfortunately for Drew.
Yeah, like you said, he needs to get out Celebration. Okay, Matt does not drain there. I guess he doesn't want to spend the 3 Force just for his drain to get canceled. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's basically a waste of resources for Matt at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's paying 6, drain for 1, essentially.
There's the Blast Door controls coming down from Matt. I'm trying to think what cards cancel It's a Trap.
Vader's Anger Virtual, I believe.
Yeah.
And they're still coming through.
Okay. I'm assuming, being that Matt plays the Blast Door controls, he might not have they're still coming through. I almost doubt he has the Vader's Anger.
I agree with you on both of those. You don't typically see they're still coming through index with Blast Door controls. And Vader's Anger seems better to me in Bring 'em Before Me. I'd be surprised to see someone playing it currently in Huntdown.
And Matt is taking his time figuring out what he wants to do here. He's probably got a lot of characters. Okay, here we go. Count Dooku going down in front of Solo, Tarful, and Lobot. And Dooku can use Force Lightning. And
and Drew has some prime targets sitting there for it.
Oh, yeah. And there it is. There's a Force Lightning. He's going to tip the Force Lightning Lobot. He's going after Lobot because Lobot allows for a react for free. If it's Lando. So that's not a bad card to go after. Lobot gets fried. Now, Dooku has no immunity right now.
Oh. And EPP Maul.
EPP Maul coming down.
So for Drew's sake, let's hope he has this trap.
Yeah, I was going to say this would be a very quick game. Oh, Mara Jade coming down as well.
Which I'm a little surprised to see. Like, Matt's committing a lot of resources to this battle.
Yeah.
So with Tarful, he can stack that, right, and say you can't... Could have used Tarful, I think, to say you can't play They're Still Coming Through and then play this trap. But
yeah.
Hopefully
there.
Matt didn't just next level him with both.
Okay, there's the It's a Trap. Let's see, does Matt have an answer? Okay.
Matt'll take over the 4-string canceling site now, though.
Yeah, that's kind of bad. But again, like you said, that's so many resources just for that one site.
I mean, it's the most important site out there that's a battleground, at least. The free movement site is super important, too, but Dark, if they're going to camp guys somewhere, they want it to be at that site in this matchup, I think.
That's a good point. Now, they have to control that, so Drew is going to be able to drain for one at the north, or the upper plaza corridor, correct?
Yes. It is not battleground specific, so he'll be able to drain there and drain in space.
Okay, so he's going to get 3 points of damage in this turn. Okay, there goes a barrier from Drew's hand, a card that I don't think he's going to need to worry about.
Yes, very easy decision now to chuck the barrier. A 17 card force file out of 22 cards, so he's going to see almost anything he could want. He has to decide now what's the most important thing that I have access to.
Yeah, and Matt currently has 32 in Life Force. Drew again has 22, so a little bit of difference there. Both players have a lot of cards on the table, though.
Yeah, Matt won't have to commit too many more resources, I don't think. At least for the next few turns. It'll kind of depend how this goes.
Okay, there's drain of 1 at the Upper Plaza corridor. Matt's going to lose the bridge from his hand. Interesting.
Well, he's activating 15. I don't think he's wanting for force, and he's got a lot of his expensive characters on table.
Okay, there's drain of 2 at Bespin. Force field and We Must Accelerate Our Plans go lost. Now that Maul's on the table, you really don't even have to worry about, you don't worry about space at all. So now Drew can focus all of his attention on keeping his guys allowed on the ground.
Definitely. So he's going to be in a situation now where, like, he needs to get Celebration online and just kind of shuffle around, mitigate as much damage as possible, get as much damage in, retrieve where he can, and then wait until hopefully there's some opportunity for a good battle. My lights just flickered and it gave me a heart attack.
Oh, there's Jar Jar coming down.
Power was going to go out. That's huge for Drew.
Yeah.
That was the one answer I believe he had to get there.
Lando joining Tarful and Solo. Now, I believe Lando can cancel Maul's game text. So, if he wants to do that, or Dooku's, I don't know why that always happens.
Yeah, but unless he's initiating the battle, Matt will still have at least one swing with Maul then.
Yeah, that's a good point. Lee Sub Serlin joins Jar Jar at the Holo Theater.
Sam points out a good point in the chat that I wasn't thinking about. The flip side of QMC stops his drains from being canceled where he has an alien. So at least still, I think the point stands that Matt wants to hold that site to stop his own drains from being canceled is also valuable. So Drew's just saying I'm moving everything in front of this. And honestly, he might just solo as a trap back.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, Matt could play his Watch Your Step shield here and make Drew pay, and I think it's an extra force for it. So.
Yeah, it'd be +1, but Drew saved 7, so even after he purchases his force vial, he'd have plenty of force for that. But it's not necessarily bad for Matt to do that, but I'd be surprised if he does.
I mean, Drew is threatening quite a significant drain next turn with Jar Jar and Lee Sub at the Holo Theater. It's a drain +1 there, so it would be a drain of 3 in total, plus a drain of 2 at Bespin. So if you're Matt...
He has to feel... Yeah, sorry, if you're Matt, go ahead.
If you're Matt, do you really want to take that 5 damage?
Yeah, he may. I mean, he has to feel fairly comfortable in that a lot of Matt's biggest threats are out there. So, like, what other characters could Matt have? P-59, maybe
P-59,
Dengar.
Kylo Ren with Saber.
Yep, Kylo Ren, potentially Dr. E combo.
And for like something like a Dr. E combo, you're not really worried because you have Ancient Watering Hole online and their forfeit is +1. Like, the card you don't want to see is Kylo.
Yeah, well, it would need to be Dr. E with, like, a Dengar or someone else. So it's a hit from Drew. Min's going to place that out of play.
Yeah, not a bad drain to cancel there.
No, and I'm sure Drew's not unhappy with that being a turn where Matt spent 3 force to do that, since he's now put the pressure on at the Holo Theater. There's only going to be some turns where Matt's even incentivized to drain. Like, depending on what's in Drew's hands, he may be able to get Menace Fades back online at some point. We'll see.
I don't know. Like, I like. Okay, here we go. Vanny coming down to the Holo Theater.
Drew's seeing what's in his force pile. Probably wishing he could play Rebel Barrier.
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah.
E59 comes down to the north corridor.
Interesting. Well, I guess you don't want to throw him in front of Jar Jar.
All right, swing and a miss, or it's a hit. Drew will get to use Leaf of Sterling on his turn.
Well, she says during control phase may use one to name a card type, reveal the top card of opponent's reserve deck. If the card matches the named card type, it is lost. Otherwise, replace it or move it to the use pile. Are you saying he's going to make a card go lost?
I just even mean, is he going to have Leaf of Sterling there to be able to use it?
Ooh, I think he's going to. You don't want to battle. I mean, Vanny, Jar Jar right now is 4'3", so he's 4'4". You might be able to. Yep.
We'll see. Drew solos back to It's a Trap, like we said he likely would.
Yeah.
Baited out another character from Matt. Probably not displeased about that.
Well, 2. Vanny's on the table now. I don't know. Like, if you're Matt, I don't think you can. I don't think you battle here.
I'd be surprised if he does.
Okay, so he's in his move phase. And he's just going to draw a few cards now. So, I mean, he was able to get the It's a Trap out of Drew's lost pile. And now Solo has used his game tech, so he can't do that.
Drew has Yoxkit, Virtual, and Ray on Sand to answer the question in the chat.
I think he wants to battle. I think he's going to want to battle and get that Ray off of there.
I agree with you. I guarantee I will be shocked, actually, if Drew does not battle in the Holo Theater. We might see one other character come down there. I anticipate Vanna will be in a battle. The real question will be, now that Drew has burned a trap from Lost, like, how is he going to navigate this stack versus the stack at the North Corridor? Because it's going to be he can't move them to the battleground.
You know, it would be really nice if you had Keep Your Eyes Open.
Yes, that's a card that we talked about. I thought about today when Drew was telling me what would be a hard matchup. It's just, certain counters for other things that he thought he would potentially run into, and there's only so much space in the deck. So, like, he kind of rolled the dice on too much weapons hate, and unfortunately he ran into a Dark Side main stack.
Yeah. And like you said, though, the only character I really see Matt having now that can come down and really hurt Drew is Kylo Ren.
EPP Dengar is not good news for Drew's deck either.
True.
He's got a lot of low ability guys, but Kylo is the worst standalone character for sure.
Joker King, Celebration is not on the table.
I won't be shocked if this turn involves, he only has a 6-card hand, but like if somehow Drew were to path someone over to another battleground, potentially the docking bay, if he had it, he should do it now to drain those. So
Yeah.
Do that, get Celebration online, play another guy, move his other dudes to the North Corridor, live to fight another day, kill Van A, and then see where we go from there.
Yeah.
That'd be like the dream turn if you're Drew.
Okay, so Drew did drain there. Matt ended up losing I Am Your Father and Lord Vader from hand. He took the Lord Vader using Vanity Sex and then made him go lost. Okay, Drew looks for a docking bay with his objective. Okay, so we're in Drew's deploy phase here. I'm expecting somebody to come down and help Jar Jar and Lee Sub, possibly. Or you could just, I mean, you could just move them away into the meditation chamber.
I'm sad Drew didn't use Leafs' text.
Yeah.
Would have liked to see him try to force through that damage. I don't know. I don't like moving away. If I'm Drew, I kind of like getting another character there, and then hopefully we still have two guys that survive. But we'll see.
Greg, Ray is currently on the sand effect. Okay, there's Milos coming down. And okay,
Drew is playing
he's playing two Rays. Okay, that's fair. Ray coming down to the North Corridor, so that will allow him to pull card out of his use pile. Touche, Greg. That's just something I didn't know.
With Drew, it's should I play 2 or 3 Ray, not should I play Ray.
That's fair.
Man loves his pile searching.
I don't blame him. It's a good technique. Like I wish we had more of it.
Still feels like this North Corridor battle could be a blowout for Matt, but
Okay, Alo Secura coming down. I don't know. Like I well, he's only down to 3/4, so he's not going to battle against Van. He can't Van A and then have another. It's a trap. So, but yeah, I really wanted to see him get out the celebration.
me too, man. I assume we'll see a battle on the Executor.
Yeah, he's still in his deploy phase. He's got some time. He's sitting a little over 2 minutes ahead of Matt, so he can take his time here. He was able to flip map as well. I think Matt has a response there. If I'm not, he could have a response. Okay.
The one good thing, if there is a battle here, is Drew is drawing out of Destiny. He outpowers him by 8. Drew's going to potentially lose a fair number of characters to weapons. Matt might not end up with much left, but Drew will potentially lose a lot of his stuff.
Okay, so there is the battle at the Hollow Theater. Drew is going to end up drawing Maz Kanata for Destiny, so she becomes a 3. And Vane is drawing 1 Destiny himself. He also draws a 3, so that's overflow of 1 for Matt. And all of Drew's guys are immune because of the objective.
I don't know if I love Drew not taking Yoxkit off, but...
Oh, yeah, he did do that.
We'll see if that ends up being critical. And Greg's actually saying Chatty should have taken the Ray off, which I can see because he's likely to lose Ray on this next turn, so like having a Ray to follow up with. But he'll probably, I don't know. He's not going to want to take Ray off in the next battle because he's going to want to draw a bunch of Aldous.
Yeah.
Much anger in him. Interesting. He likely does have the Maul space package.
Yeah. Maybe Matt will want to lose Maul and then start cloaking him. But he lost the much anger in him, so
Unlikely, yeah.
yeah.
All right, so the nice thing is now Drew is able to spread out on the Executor. Nice thing for Drew. So hopefully he's going to get through a decent amount of damage. Like, Matt probably has a character or two. We'll see how this turn goes.
Yeah. He is activating 15, so it's definitely more than enough to get some character out. But we'll see what Matt does here. Might see a drain of 3 at the West Gallery.
Yeah. I expect we will see a drain, but we'll see.
Yeah, he's got 15-4, so I'm not really seeing, again, he could come down, like we said, with the Dr. E combo, Kylo Ren. I believe Kylo comes down for 5, Dr. E comes down for 4, so he still, even if he just has those, he could come down with something else as well.
Yeah, assuming they're going to the Executor. All of his guys are deployed +1 to Bestman.
Matt checking out his Destiny. He's got 8 cards left in his reserve deck here. Yeah, Yoshi in the chat talking about how Matt needs to swing with Maul first because Lando could cancel his game text, and I agree.
Yeah. He was going to cancel his game text probably either way. But he needs to, if he should get the one swing in, instead he's going to lose out on the swing, but I expect Matt knows that. Okay. Matt's played a ton of QMC himself.
Ooh, that's not good. Drew loses Rebel Barrier from his hands. Cloud City Celebration and Yoxkit from the deck. Is he playing 2 celebrations?
He is.
Okay. So it's not as bad.
Yeah, he's a little. I'm a little concerned about him even getting Celebration online at this point. We'll see. Matt's still sitting at 24 in Life Force 8 in hand. Drew's at 15 in Life Force 3 in
hand. Joker King, you cannot play impressive, most impressive. Oh wait, no, there is a Jerry there. Ayla Secure. I'm bad. Tarkin coming down. I always forget about.
He would need to have impressive in his deck to play it, which he does not. We will not be seeing that. Tarkin adding another Destiny for Dark. He's.
I don't think he is he?
No, actually you're right.
Yeah, it's only one Destiny.
He's got enough in his deck to swing all 3 times, plus shoot with P59, plus draw Destiny.
Yeah. But again, Matt is getting a lot of Destiny there.
Drew, you mean?
Yeah, Drew.
Yeah, Solo adds with Rey. In adds
with an alien.
Hila adds.
Yeah.
We're looking at 4 Destiny for Drew. Potentially many characters. We'll see.
Here we go. Matt does initiate the battle. Again, he cannot. Its action is still on Drew. Matt cannot hit Ayla Secura here until all the aliens are gone. Okay, there's a Tarful saying sniper, so Matt cannot play sniper this turn.
I think that's the right choice for Drew.
Yeah, because you don't want characters going away until after the battle. Okay, action's on Matt right now. Waiting to see who he wants to swing at. Okay, Maul is going to swing at Lando. Okay, that's going to hit Lando. Yep, there's the Sith Infiltrator.
And wisely, he uses Maul first.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then Lando is going to cancel Maul's game text here. But Matt still has Mara, Jade with lightsaber, and P-59 on the table, so he'll still be able to fire his. He's got 2 more weapons to fire.
See, I mean, I think a lot of this is going to come down to assuming Matt hits. Like, how well does Drew draw?
Yeah, that's going to be the important part.
Because he could have huge Destiny or not so great. Fortunately, Yaxket's not in play.
Yeah. Again, Matt is still thinking who he wants to fire his lightsaber at, as well as P-59. Margie is going to swing at Din Djarin. Draws 4 for the first Destiny. And draws a 4 for the second one, so Din Djarin's going to be hit here. And I think you just go after Cal Foul with P-59, so that way you hit. Oh, rescue.
Drew plays rescue to cancel the second.
Mm-hmm. So Din will not be hit. Matt does grab that.
It's good for Drew.
Yeah, that's one less character that has to go away, so. And again, Matt still has P-59. And P-59 is going to shoot solo.
Ooh, and a big miss.
And he draws 0.
But Tarkin's going to let him redraw.
Yeah.
Unlikely he misses.
Yeah. Draws a 3. So
yeah, obviously he had seen his Destiny, so he knows. I forgot Tarkin was there.
Yeah.
So Drew's got to lose 2 to P-59.
And there goes Tuas Ka. And Maz Kanata as well off the top. So he gets rid of 2 kind of low Destiny there.
Yep. That's the one silver lining, potentially. All right, so there's a You Were Beaten. There's definitely an argument that he could have played named You Were Beaten over Sniper Dark Strike.
Yeah, that gets rid of 1 Destiny for Drew. As well as 4 power. But, I mean, either way, if he has the sniper, the character's going to go lost. If he has the You Are Beaten, like, it's an either-or situation, so you just didn't know that he had the You Are Beaten and maybe not the sniper, so.
Someone in chat said, like, maybe if he had sniper, he would have played in the control phase. I think that's reasonable. So, like, maybe he is slightly better to depict You Were Beaten, but
that's a good point.
It also could just be shenanigans and you're sort of guessing.
Yeah. Okay. So there is a 3 for Battle Destiny. So that's going to bring Matt up to 29. Drew, here we go. Draws a 5 for the first Destiny. Draws a 3 for the second. And a 5 for the third. So 13 battle damage. Or 13 to his Battle Destiny. So Matt's going to have to lose a couple characters. Drew's going to lose 2.
15 attrition for Matt.
Yeah.
3 attrition for Drew. Which, notably, all of his stuff other than Ray is immune to. Farfel can probably just bite the dust here. Or actually, Alfal's not doing too much given that he's not drawing just one Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
So I would anticipate we'll see probably KFC go. Because he'd like to keep Ray online, I imagine.
Yeah.
But Dooku is probably the obvious choice there. Now, I would expect that we'll see Mara go as his other character for Matt.
Okay, there goes Lando for Drew.
He's not going to want to lose 2 guys, and he's not going to want to lose Maul. So I would assume Mara's hitting the bin.
I don't know, but he might want the saber.
Yeah, but P-59 actually is probably better right now because of the 2 force loss.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good question. Yeah, I wonder if Drew is tracking for Lisa up here. If he's tracking the Destinies. Because he got a verified, and he should know what Matt's Destinies and cards are.
Yes, he should. So he should know the top card for Lisa to be able to make it lost. We'll see, Eric.
And you called it. Matt threw away Mara Jade. And there goes Ray to the lost pile. Interesting that he lost Ray. I wouldn't be surprised to see Matt move like Min and Tarkin together into the upper plaza corridor here. Kind of cut off Drew.
I don't know if Drew can really afford to move away from this battleground site at the current time.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying, like, if he... Oh, go ahead.
It's not necessarily cutting him off. I'm just saying it's not necessarily cutting him off. I can see him doing it just to apply more pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Matt just draws. Yeah, I'm not surprised to see him stick. We'll see how Drew navigates this turn. He only has a 2-card hand.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting pretty big drains. I assume Matt's going to pull resistance. There you go.
Yep, there it is. I mean, that's still 6 damage, though.
Yeah, nothing to sneeze at. At this point, even if you're Drew, you're like, let's just get as much damage in as possible, get him as low as possible, and hope for a bigger win with my dark side.
Okay, so Drew is going to activate everything.
So no battles this turn, which I fully approve.
I mean, if he can get like a good character in front of the Emperor to maintain battle plan, that wouldn't be bad.
Yeah, I'm not. There's not that much left that is super great there. So he has I don't think he's lost Leia Rebel Princess. I don't think he's lost Yoda.
No.
Both of those could be decent. Leia to the docking bay
She'd be good.
moving guys would be good. If he has wild card in his hand, like he could play wild card, play Leia to the docking bay, land Hark and the Overseer, so he knows that he's likely to just maintain battle order.
Mm-hmm.
It's so. I think sometimes commentating on GIMP, because like when you're watching a game in real life, especially just watching in a tournament, you're like, oh, I see what's in their hand. I kind of know what to anticipate. And
Yeah, but
I
without.
hate not knowing.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm the kind of the same way. Matt is gonna lose the Cloud City Downtown Plaza as well as the Sonic Bombardment. Both of those from his deck. He loses Vane off the top. So he's not losing from hand. Interesting.
Which, no matter what, Drew has to be happy about that. He's whittling down Lake Force. Like, if he can get this in the single digits, Drew's going to be happy, I think, going into the next game, no matter what he's playing. At least, because it gives him a fighting chance, you know?
This is game one, Eric.
If you had to place a bet, what would you bet on Matt playing light side?
I have no clue. I have I have no clue what Matt plays. There goes a gick from his hand.
I will arbitrarily pick. We'll see which one of us is accurate, if either of us is even right.
So I'm gonna say QMC. QMC.
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, he does like QMC. I think he's going to play Community.
I can see that.
Drew guess interrupts. He was not tracking completely.
Mm-mm.
He had seen that infiltrator, so if he kept track of where everything was, I think he would have known that. Yeah, there's discussion in the chat about would Drew path to the docking bay. Unfortunately for Drew, path only works at interior site, so he would have been able to relocate to the 1-0 and drain for 1 there.
Mm.
So there's the Leia Rebel Princess and the Emperor.
Yeah, I was gonna say I agree with Jared in the chat. Antilles maneuver would have been really good for Drew. Then he could fight into that stack.
For sure. He's going to go wide here, it looks like.
Figuring Dan in the modal nodes.
First tournament when I came back to Star Wars Cards that I went to was a cube here in Atlanta that Frodo ran. And I drafted Figuring Dan. I hadn't played in 5 or 6, no, probably at that point like 6 years. And Figuring Dan was always one of my favorite cards. And my now wife told me the next morning I had left the tournament, we hung out all night or whatever, and the next morning she's like, in your sleep you were talking a bit, and you said something about a Fingering Dan? I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, you legitimately in your sleep, you were like, Fingering Dan. Fingering Dan. I do occasionally talk in my sleep, so this isn't like totally abnormal, but yeah, for whatever reason, I guess I was dreaming about the Cube tournament and Fingering Dan. So to this day, I have a good laugh about that, and my wife is amazing and cuts out my virtual slips. Like, she enjoys doing it. And
wow.
So when the new set came out, she saw that, and she came in and she was like, they made a Fingering Dan card.
Did you? Oh God. Technically, we're not allowed to finger Dan. You get banned.
Yeah, she did. I don't think I actually was saying fingering, but not knowing
Figuring,
Dan.
yeah.
What is fingering, Dan?
Uh,
Right, so fingering would have allowed him to once per game recirculate, but I don't think Drew is super interested in battling.
yeah, that's a good point.
But it is, yeah, they're debating the decision to move the 6 to the bottom.
Yeah, because now you can track it for six battle destiny. Because
Yeah,
Matt knows
I'm
what he
not
has
sure.
there.
This is legitimately like 30 minutes past Drew's bedtime, so he also might just be tired.
What? Where is Drew?
He's in Atlanta. He just goes to bed like between 9 and 10 p.m. most nights. And he gets up early, he goes to bed early, and he stayed up. I know he stayed up for the entirety of the Braves game, of course, last night.
Yeah.
So for him, this is like he's probably running on fumes. I questioned tonight the best time to play, but he went for it.
Okay, so he's going to use the once per game with Sith Fury to exchange a Dark Jedi with the Dark Jedi in the Lost Pile. He's going to lose the Emperor from hand to get Count Dooku back. I don't think they're playing tonight, Bill, both games. I really hope.
He's losing Darth Sidious?
No, he lost. Yeah, he lost Lord Sidious. You know, the guy who threw the Senate at Yoda?
Exactly.
And then he decided, I'm going to promote myself because I can do that.
Bill, Drew offered to play them back-to-back tonight because he's the reason they had to reschedule tomorrow morning. I don't know if they decided to play both. Matt might have said, let's see how long the first game takes.
Yeah, they didn't really say anything in the on Slack or anything, so. So if it's this weekend, we'll see. We'll let you guys know when they're gonna play and everything.
If it's tonight, I can. If Dan, if you're available, we can stay on. If you're not, I am able to stream the second.
No, I'm good. Count Dooku going in front of Dan. And then Herx, the Overseer, is going to allow Drew a peek at his reserve deck.
Gives him a shuffle. I'll be honest, I wasn't tracking Drew's deck. I'm not sure if what he had left there.
I think if you're Matt, you battle there first. Dooku against Dan. And then you go and battle. Okay. And then you battle at the North Quarter. So that way you have your 6 in that battle. So you get rid of more guys. But he's going to start off over at the North Corridor. Okay, Tarful says Sniper again. See what Matt's going to do. I'm anticipating a swing from Darth Maul with lightsaber.
Agreed. And I believe, okay, so he cannot target Ayla, at least until everyone else there is hit.
Correct.
Drew's almost assuredly going to be eating 2 more damage from P-59.
Yeah, I would assume P-59 is going to shoot Calfal here.
I would think so.
Just so he can get that extra 2 points of damage in. Yep, Maul's going to swing at Tarful. Tarful's got armor 4.
Even though he's ability 2, he has roar 4.
Yeah.
There's the Kylo, notably not in Matt's hand.
That's good information for Drew. Okay, so he is hit.
Eric, he has armor 4, but they use it's like a thematic thing. So his is roar 4 instead of armor.
Okay, Dinjarn targets Tarkin, so if Tarkin goes lost, Drew will be able to retrieve a force. Maul swings at Din, draws a 5 and draws a 7, so he is going to be hit here.
AFC targeted by P59 as you predicted.
Draws a 5.
Hit.
Okay, so we know the bottom card is a 6 for Matt. Yep, now Drew has to lose 2 to P59. He is going to lose from hand. He loses Maz. And he loses a Hojix.
I think the ship has sailed on Hujix at this point.
Yeah.
Question will be, can Matt draw a 5 to clear Ayla or not? Because making Drew pay to drain here is going to be big.
Yeah. And that's why I said he draws the sniper. So Ayla's going to be able to stick around. Like I said, if he fights over at the docking bay first, then he gets the 6 and he clears. Okay, there's the wild card for 2. Oh, Dinjarn for 1. That hurts a little. And Rio for 4.
Total.
So
it was Maul or 2 dudes, basically.
Yeah. I think you lose them all.
Oh, actually, it's not Maul because his attrition is higher. I wasn't thinking about Ancient Watering Hole. So.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Matt actually has 8 attrition, so he's going to have to lose 2 characters.
Yeah, and Drew loses everybody but Ayla.
Yeah, good point, Eric. He could find a path. I think he's lost at least 2 paths.
Yes, he in the chat just pointed out. Yes, he did use Dinjarn. He targeted Tarkin. Okay, there goes Tarkin. So Din does work.
Drew's probably happily going to get this life force back.
Yep, and he's going to retrieve 1 here. People in the chat are saying he should retrieve 2 there. And there goes P59. So Duke or Maul is going to stick around. And Dooku versus Dan at the docking bay. Okay, Drew's going to take a card off.
I have to imagine he's taking Rey in hand.
Yeah, that's what he does.
I wouldn't be shocked to see, like, Rey and Leia move in front of Emperor.
I could see that. Yeah. Matt draws that 6 for Destiny, and Drew draws a 5.
Which is +1. Notably, that means Dooku is going to be dead to attrition.
Yes. I don't know. Like, after all that, I think that turn went really as well as you could have went for Drew. You got rid of a lot of your opponent's characters, and you're still occupying for battle plans. So
I think I agree with the chat. I wish he had sent Tarkin Hughes to retrieve 2. Like, Drew's life force is more valuable at a certain point than giving him the Tarkin back. Because Drew's doing a lot of damage. I think having the extra life force, because he's kind of on the back pedal, but turning the corner, it would be better for Drew, I think, to have had that extra life force. I think at 2-1 is worth it.
Yeah, and I agree with Eric in the chat. He should definitely lease up here because he knows what's on top.
For the love of God, Drew named Starship. So he'll open up by activating everything, use keeping to tunnel vision.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Drew. You saw it.
Come on, Drew. You know what's there. There's the Lee sub. Does he name the right card type? He says Starship.
Boom. Shakalaka.
And the chat goes mild.
Hey, the reaction to that was at least as strong as the reaction to the big announcement.
Oh. There's Drain 2 at the Holo Theater.
Can keep the Holo Theater jokes coming. Like, that's more action than we saw in the 30 minutes of Holo Theater earlier.
Drain of 2, he loses Force Push and Sniper. Drain of 3, but again, Matt is only going to be losing 2 because Resistance is on the table. There goes a We Must Accelerator Plan off the top. And the Phantom Menace as well. So both players have 11 Force in their Life Force.
Yeah, no matter what, this is going to end up being a tight game, which hopefully bodes well for Drew on the flip side. For me, I mean, I'm an unabashed Drew fan. You know, I am wearing my allegiance on my sleeve, and that's nothing against MHG. I like Matt.
Yeah. Okay, there goes Point Man to the Drain at 1 at Leia's site, and there goes Darth Vader and Kylo Ren. So Kylo, he loses another character that he could use to fight. So
Drew retrieved Figrindan last turn after it was lost, gets it back. And keeping, plays the raid that he searched for.
And he hasn't used Leia's game text at all this game, so that's important. Nope, no, he has not yet, Greg.
Yes, Leia came to the guest quarters, moved to that 1-0, and then Matt has not drained since that happened. So he has double Leia left. This is looking pretty good for Drew, if I had to say.
Yeah, being that Matt has lost Kylo there, the only other character that I can think that he would have to really come down and do a lot of damage would be like Dengar with Blaster Carbine. He needs characters with weapons, so that way he can get rid of multiple characters. Okay.
But he's down to 5 cards in hand, 9 cards in Life Force, and he has to pay to drain and drain through Leia.
Yeah, exactly. And Ayla Secure moves over, joining Leia at the upper plaza corridor.
Yeah, which is kind of huge. It's like he's now not exposing himself to almost anything this turn.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to satisfy battle plan. He's draining for a lot. Matt may just activate and draw up. We'll see.
Losing by 10. Yeah.
I mean, he may get a couple more damage through if he doesn't. Actually, let's think about this. So
because
he
you
can
don't
drain. He can cancel the drains at Mall Site and Min Site this turn.
Yeah.
On the subsequent turn, Drew, though, can move out and block drains, probably not take damage.
He would drain... He would... Let's see, that's rough.
Excuse me. Right now, though, Drew's getting 2, 4, 5, 6,
9.
7, 9 damage.
Yeah. That's... Yeah, he's pushing through 9 damage. That's only going to leave Matt with 4 cards, so he has 1 drain. And I'm assuming it would be the drain at Vader's site, because it's a drain of 3. It's still a drain of... yeah, it's a drain of 8, because you can't drain with Leia.
Oh, he flipped back when he moved.
Yeah.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah, Eric caught that in the chat, so... Actually, Yoshi said it first, saying that Drew was going to push through 8, and then Yeah.
Right, well, yeah, Sam knows QMC quite well, so I'm not surprised that didn't get past him. And Eric knows Star Wars quite well, so yeah, they
Yeah.
both get. I'm not shocked that they were on top of that.
Okay. Now, another thing is, Drew is up by 12 minutes on MHT now. I don't think this game's going to go to time, but
Yeah, I don't think so.
Matt just has to watch it a little bit, I would say.
Although it's possible he could pass Leia out. B-Fred just mentioned this in chat. Could pass Leia out, flip him back, get the extra damage through, block the Emperor drain, maybe move Rey over or something, and then pass, and like that's just in an impossible situation.
Yeah. Again, Matt is just eating up clock at this point. Okay, here we go. He's going to activate. He activates 6, saving 3. Is he going to continue activating here? And Matt currently has 34 cards in his lost pile. Drew only has 21. So, just for tiebreakers.
Yeah, if it were to come to that, that obviously bodes quite well for Drew.
Mm-hmm.
It's rare, but that does come up like at least once a year, it seems like. So
Yeah.
very possible.
Oh, that's another good point. Of Dan is going to be allowing Drew to retrieve as well.
Oh yeah, he has the similar watering hole text, right? If you have 5 dudes.
Yeah, you may retrieve.
Green Dan.
See? Everybody named Dan is pretty good.
For sure. Gentleman and a scholar. A good man and thorough.
So
Matt ends up activating it all.
Mm-hmm. He also ate up like 2 minutes just sitting there deciding on what he wanted to do.
I think he's like, should I bother doing this or do I just draw up? Because he's giving Drew life force back by force training.
Yeah.
He might just say I'm taking my loss by 10 and hoping to minimize the differential because it may not go his way if he pays his drain. Because it's like he gets 2 Leias back, he'll lose potentially 1 to the Emperor drain, and then on Drew's turn he gets to retrieve with Fingering Dan and push through 8 damage, like we said.
Mm-hmm.
And then Matt's in a situation where he has at most he has 5 cards in his life force, so he can drain 1 place.
Yeah, and that's that 3 force that Drew just got back, so you're really not having Drew lose any force at this turn.
Right.
Yeah, it looks like this is what he's going to do. Like, I think he's looking at the numbers and everything, and he's just deciding on that.
There it is. He's drawn up.
Yep. Okay, so Drew is going to win this one. And then the other thing is that gets cards out of Matt's lost pile, too. Like, that's less cards that he's putting away. So, it looks like Drew is going to be winning this one. So, plus 10. Drew.
Got the GGs.
Okay, so yep, Drew has won game 1. Again, not sure when they're going to be playing game 2. You said that it is almost Drew's bedtime.
It's past Drew's bedtime, but he's been bucking bedtime week, so maybe he's up for that again. I just messaged him. We'll see if he responds, or he may even just ask Matt, like, if they haven't settled Yep. Drew affirming that not drawing high enough to clear Alo was huge. I mean, that really, he drew the sniper, I think it was. That was a really, really big thing. He would have had to draw a 7, but like Alo living was huge.
Yeah, I think that was really the turning point of the game.
We'll see if they address their game 2 timing here, or if Drew answers my G chat. Send him a Slack message too, maybe a smoke signal.
So again, so now that Drew has won, any thoughts on what he could play for Darkside?
Wouldn't be shocked if he plays map. He loves that deck. CCT could be in his range. I don't think he'll play anything like ROPS or Deal.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's probably got 4 or 5 decks. If I had to bet, maybe map, just because he now has a 10-card advantage. And he feels good. Okay, so it looks like they are not playing the second game now. Friday night or Sunday night work well for Drew. If it is Friday night, I definitely cannot stream.
Same.
If it's Sunday night, I may be able to.
Yeah, thankfully the Steelers play on Monday, so I will be able to watch. I can do Sunday night, so. But yeah, it looks like again they're going to be playing this weekend. So once we have a confirmed date, we'll let you guys know. Until then, everybody, thanks for watching today. Again, if you missed today's big spoiler, the spoiler was that Darth Sidious and the Emperor Palpatine are the same person. Don't take it up with me. Take it up with your advocates. Until next week, and until next time, as always, I'm Dan Leone. And again, I want to thank Mike Kessling and Chris Kelly for joining us. And I will at least see you guys next Wednesday. Take care.